1. These are some of my favorite during my time in Glacier National Park. It was during 2020, so COVID rules were in place. We weren't taking cash at this time, per company rules. Told the customer and her husband. Lady started screaming at me while walking out the door, calling me corrupt, and I'm the reason America is going to pieces because we don't accept cash, and implying cash isn't money. Guests came for their honeymoon and found a mouse in their room, freaked out and requested their whole stay to be taken care of. Gave them one night off. Later his mom calls and throws a fit saying we ruined their honeymoon and stay, and the mouse was obviously placed in their room to get their son and wife out. Basically saying we had a vendetta on her son and daughter-in-law. A guest came in right before close. We didn't have a night audit at this time, and starts this convo. I just wanted to say I'm not gay. I wasn't even thinking about that, but okay, cool. Then goes on for 3 minutes saying how his friend and him go on vacation every year for his birthday. And I was like, that's awesome. My friends and I do that too. Then he gets super serious and starts saying his friend took his shoes, that they were on the porch and won't give them back. Said his friend has a gun and definitely has a knife. Requests for me to kick him out of his cabin. All less than 5 foot me to go kick this guy who has a gun and a knife out. So I tell him no, but we can call NPS and the cops. The guy starts going ballistic and screams at me to kick his friend out of the cabin. My GM comes down and is like, WTF is going on? We call NPS. They want to talk to the guy, but he's nowhere to be found. He's walking outside with no shoes on, screaming. Finally, get him to talk on the phone, say they're coming. He ended up leaving, and 2 days later the same guy and his friend come to check out. Like nothing happened. Even said this was the best day of his life. Once had a J1, visa worker, they're awesome, from Asia, and she worked the front desk. She spoke pretty good English and was an amazing worker and person. Some guy's checking in, and she's going through her spiel, and he's staring at her like he just made the best invention ever, then yells,
I can't understand you. You might want to practice English more.
Then looks around to the others for like a, we agree with you. And everyone just looked at him in disgust and looked away. Beat Red ended up apologizing and said he was hard of hearing. Opened up the front desk at 7, 7:15 comes around, and 3 people pull up asking to check in. On the 4th of July. Then got mad they were able to, and the old, I paid a lot of money for this and we booked the room a year ago, you and everyone else. In Glacier, we had a lot of Amish people come and visit on the Amtrak. No cards, so we made the cash exception for them. Other people saw them paying for the rooms with cash and threw a fit, all while my manager was trying to explain in the nicest way they do not have cards. Other guests were not having it. Finally, the Amish father turned around and in a very strict tone said, We don't believe in cards. We only have cash and no car. Do you want us to drive back to the farm? Then the other guest and him got in each other's face and started yelling at each other. Had to call NPS for that one. Once had a couple of families traveling together come in. They had so many kids and they always ended up in the gift store. They saw the parents add stuff to their bill and figured they could as well. It started off as small things, like that we believe their parents actually told them to go get for them, but then added in little things for them like a candy bar or a campfire game. And they did it with a different person each time, so we couldn't have kept track. Their stay is fine, and the parents come to get the receipts, and it's like $2,000 or $3,000 of just stuff added on by their kids. They're pissed, understandably so, and threatened a lawsuit on us, because we didn't watch what their kids were doing. A guest comes into the lobby and says, What is this place? Is it a hotel, grocery store, gas station? For those wondering, we do get very serious inquiries of when we let the animals out. In Yellowstone, I once had someone ask how they get to the Grand Prismatic swimming pool. I told him he couldn't swim in it, he would die. He got super bummed out and said the blue water is just so beautiful. I thought it would be cold enough to swim in on such a hot day like this. Also got asked when we turned the canyon back on for the day. If Old Faithful runs during the night, and why did it start snowing today? All dead serious, all adults asking. 2. About a month ago, I started at my new hotel. It's a much nicer and recognizable brand, so less complaints than my previous roach and bedbug loveboat property. A couple nights ago, I got a call from a guest who had a reservation that started the next day. They asked to update it to that same night and said he would come in during audit. I checked them in and made the key, but they didn't show up during my shift. A few nights later, I recognized some guests that didn't fit the vibe. This hotel is mostly business class and family-oriented guests, and these guys with their face tats and outdated urban clothing looked like the entourage of a broke rapper. It was 2 guys. One dude was like 6'6", pretty big, tall. The other guy was surprisingly short, like 5'1". I would have thought the shorter one was a middle schooler if he didn't have a full beard. We have a market with basic candy chips, sodas, and grocery store frozen food. They grabbed like $80 worth of food and disorganized lots of stuff on the shelf. Then they started acting sketchy just because I watched them rummaging around. The whole vibe was off. In a past life, it was common for me to deal with criminal and street types of people, so I could tell they had something in motion. I didn't say anything, but I gave them a certain look. The bigger dude said, "You got a problem with us, bruh?" I matched his tone and said, "I just work here, bruh." He said his brother had a room here and he didn't appreciate my attitude. I told him I didn't say anything to his brother, and they can either go back to the room or we can get the law involved. It don't make a difference to me. They looked pissed and called me all types of names under his breath, but they went back to their room. A day later, the manager texted the group me saying, "We had guys who checked into a room under a card we couldn't verify was theirs, and they also said they had no other cards or IDs. Anytime a key was made, be it a duplicate for someone who's already in-house or otherwise, they need to be able to provide an ID, otherwise they cannot get a key." When I got to work tonight, my coworker said 2 guys who matched the description of the guys I talked to tried to hit on her. He was like, "Hey baby, I'm here for 3 nights, and you fine as hell. Come by the room." She declined and said it made her hella uncomfortable. Turns out there's a scam going around where one con artist rents a room on a card and sells the room for like $20. The scammers then lock the card before it can be charged, but after it's authorized at check-in. They usually get mobile keys, but this time they got a regular key from the person after me without checking their ID. They were asked to leave the hotel after charging $150 for the room and $300 in snacks. The hotel just took the loss. The assistant manager who gave them the key without checking is leaving after next week for another job. 3. Sorry, I just need to vent. So some time ago, in the not-too-distant past, a guest stayed at our property. Upon check-in, they were horrified to learn they had not read the policies on the website where they booked, and that we do have a security deposit. They went back and forth with our front desk agent over this, but eventually they did check in with much grumbling, and we never heard from them again during their stay. Did they actually stay the full night? I have no idea. But if they did leave early, they never informed us. Fast forward a few days, and the website they booked through claims that since the guest didn't stay, that the guest was getting a full refund, and we needed to refund the virtual card. Over my dead body. So I hop on the phone and try to call the website about this issue. I explain the issue, and they state they must call me back at the property's listed number for security purposes. Yeah, that's fine, not my first rodeo, I've been here for years. Please do. So we hang up and I wait. No callback. 15 minutes later, I called them back and get a different agent, and explain my issues with the guest and also state, "By the way, I was waiting for the security call back and never got it. Can you confirm our phone number is correct?" I have no idea why it wouldn't be. I've done this a million times with them before. No, they assured me everything is fine, and they will give me a callback. Okay, hang up, no callback. Next day, I do my best to verify all our contact information online with the website. Yes, there's 2 phone numbers. One is our main line, the other is the manager's cell number. She never got a call, and neither did I. Once again, I tried to call and get this resolved. But they once again state that yes, the number I have listed in our contacts is the number they have on file. But to resolve the issue with the guest, they will have to do a security callback, which I never hear from. This is getting maddening. Fine, I'll do it through the extranet texts and emails. I hate going through their extranet. Every response feels somewhere between bog-standard response forms and someone intentionally trying to misunderstand you. One of the main things I've been trying to learn is who authorized this supposed cancellation and refund of Mr. S and when. Because whenever I speak to these people over the phone, they are always careful to never end the conversation without getting my name and position. And often, whenever I have spoken with them later, they are always able to back up when something was authorized by us by stating who authorized it. I have never had a problem with them over this until now. I ask who authorized it and when. Their response: "It's already been cancelled free of charge and we've waived the commission. Please contact the partner support line from..." No, I'm not going back to the phone line. And you're not answering my question. I know you think it's been cancelled for free, but I'm asking by who. Round and round I go, back and forth for a few days. They take pains to assure me the commission has been zeroed out and beg me to refund the virtual card. No. I have evidence this guest stayed, and you lot are avoiding telling me who authorized this. We have the money currently, so I want a darn good reason to hand it back. Me mentioning evidence starts a new line for them. Oh, well, if I have evidence the guest stayed, could I supply it? Sure. I sent them photocopy of the ID, the receipt with the signature, the timestamps in our systems for the signature and the card transactions. Lord help me, if you want it, I'll pull the camera footage of the guests leaving our lobby and going into their room if you want. What really irks me is this whole time they have maintained that the guest never stayed, never once giving any other reason for the cancellation and refund. But after I send them all the evidence, guess what? The guest has reached out to us about the state of the room, this complaint, that complaint, etc. A laundry list of issues with the room, none of which was ever brought up to us by the guest during their stay or by the website until right now. 1 or 2 could have been legit, and we'd have gladly addressed the issues or moved rooms. But more than one was straight up fabricated just to exert the maximum pressure on the website to cancel and refund them. Well then, why the sudden change of tune? Because you or the guest realize we have evidence against the lie, so they're swapping to the next one. Nah, I gotcha now. I inform the website that we will not be issuing a refund, because it's obvious now that the statements early on of the guest never having stayed were a lie. And now the story has changed to things which I cannot believe to be true. And even if it were, we were never made aware or given a chance to rectify the situation. So not only are we not giving anything back, I would like the guest to be blacklisted from our property. Cherry on top. The reply stated if we wished to report a guest misconduct, we could do so through the extranet. But I can't. Why? Because they still have the reservation listed as a no-show. And we can't report guest misconduct or reservations that never showed up. Ah! I know what they're trying to do. The guest is raising such a fuss that they don't want any part of this bad interaction. They just want the guest to get their money back and bug off. But no, I won't stand for it. I'm not going to give in no matter how much they whine or no matter how much crap you throw up at me. We took the money, the guest stayed. You can take your commission. I'm not going to give ground on this. 4. The aliens wasted no time replacing Earth's leaders with their own. That's pretty much what happens when your bosses sell the hotel to a much larger corporation. The Last of Us are being hunted down to extinction, but you can always decide to side with your new masters too. When the invaders first arrived, the resistors and the testers of patience were the first to go. Second was my overtime. 2 from the front lines put in their 2 weeks almost immediately. As a side note, our hotel had a beloved stray cat known by employees and guests alike. She never came in the building, but she was pretty much a house cat. She had a little house and her own food and water outside an entrance behind the front desk. She had been coming around for like 5 years, 3 years longer than I've been working there. The hotel was the cat's home. You can guess where this is going. The staff was given an ultimatum: take the cat or we're calling the shelter, pound what have you. So luckily the head housekeeper's daughter took her and all her things, house, water, football, to her neighborhood, so she could be an outside cat there. Then the head housekeeper's daughter was fired. Not for that, but for something really stupid. Sad. Yesterday, the front office manager, who would have been the GM one day, resigned, effective immediately. Who knows what will happen to me? They've already taken my overtime because I make too much. They could still decide I make too much money and hire someone for cheaper, either before or after they start terraforming. Oh yeah, the terraforming part. They're rebranding the hotel and will be renovating floor by floor starting this August. 4 days. I'm definitely not the hero of this story, just trying to survive. Still, they could cut my hours more or toss me away according to their corporate needs. And there I'll be playing Frank Sinatra's That's Life on repeat. Just losing my overtime, I've already had to take a second job again, so I'm loving that. Not. And it has potential to get worse before it gets better, but we'll see. I go back tonight. I'm thinking the front desk supervisor was promoted to manager. A woman who the previous manager had a rivalry with, so this should be interesting. 5. I worked as a waiter in a small hotel just outside a bigger city. About 100 to 120 guests, sleeping at max capacity. As a waiter, I'm not really comfortable with angry and screaming guests. You know, not the demanding good service now ones, but the still irrational after you help them people. So during Corona, they removed all 0-hour-per-week night shift people, and asked me and the janitor to do some night shifts. And from day one it was horrible for me, because I can't handle my own thoughts when I work myself up, and I got all day, buddy. So I shake from anxiety from the start at 11 p.m. until about 4 a.m. This wasn't healthy, and I told my boss after like 14 shifts, I guess I quit doing that. Thank God. Anyway, on to the 2 stories that happened that time. All of it was relatively normal, but of the 4 stories, the 3rd one was being let completely for some company, but nobody slept there. So I came in at 10:30 and was already shaking. It was like my 3rd night. The lovely receptionist told me there's 2 iffy guys on the 4th floor, but they're the only ones there, and the 3rd floor was empty also. So there's 2 guys in 2 rooms and they go outside to smoke at, I guess, 12:30 a.m. or thereabouts. But after 30 minutes, they come back with 2 hookers. They smoke outside and see the first one come in, and I checked quickly, they only rented the rooms for the night for 1 person. So I called out the guy with all my courage. He says, "Don't worry about it." I'm like, yeah, I guess. I don't care really. They put me here also. Only 5 minutes later, the second guy comes down, slaps a note with 50 on my desk and says, "Forget about it." Or at least that's what I remember. Because all the adrenaline did make my memory fuzzy, not gonna lie. The second incident is way more juicier. The hotel has a pool with paid-for sauna in the basement, but you can still look at it from the outside and, importantly, from the deck outside the hotel behind the bar. So this night, it's 11:30. A guy, late 20s, early 30s, comes by and asks for the key to the pool. He said the receptionist said okay because he came in at 10:30. The pool officially closes at 11. I already did my pool chemistry work, so I was like, alright. He's probably going to swim for like maybe 30 minutes. So after 20 or 30 minutes, he walks by from the poolside to the other side of the hotel and comes back with some guy in his 40s or 50s from the rooms at that side. I was like, WTF, mate? After another 10 minutes, a woman from that side, the same age. But I was still scared and I thought too much about what to do, and the cautious thoughts always win in the end. So after another 30 minutes, around 1:45, 1 a.m., I go check on them from the bar outside the deck, where I know I can be sneaky and see what's up without them seeing me peek. So I see them in the pool swimming. Okay, that's fine. I go back to the front desk, and the worrying thinking starts happening again. So it's 1:15 in the morning, and I go to the bar outside deck again. I see the older couple, butt naked, standing around and music playing. I'm like furious, partly at myself for being so stupid allowing this all to happen, partly because fuck night shift so hard. I hate conflict, and I don't want to work in such an environment. Anyway, I go to the pool entrance from the outside, and I want to tell them to get out in 10 minutes, so I knock twice. Wait 4 seconds to enter. The older couple are now swimming, and I don't see the younger couple. I walk in 4 steps and tell them to get dressed now, but from the sauna emerges the younger guy who asked me for the key in the first place. Totally naked and aroused. Probably just riding his girl in there. He goes off on me, telling me, do I know what time it is? I told him. He asked me how I know without a watch, and I said I saw it on the computer upstairs at the front desk. What kind of answer is he expecting? Anyway, I tell him to get dressed. Reeling from adrenaline, I go upstairs and sit behind my desk. Another 10 minutes later, the older couple come up and ask for a towel. I give them one. I'm not a bastard. Then the younger couple comes by. The guy starts flipping on me, and I try to keep my calm for as long as I can. So he says, "Do you even have a girlfriend?" I said I'm not inclined to answer that. So he guessed I didn't and verbally abused me some more. I told him simply that the pool is not meant for use of this kind, partying at these hours, and they had to leave. In the end, I was glad the older couple was there to calm this drugged-ass motherfucker. Anyway, after one more shift, I was out, thank God. To night shifters that like the job and are hard-asses, I can be a hard-ass, but not when I'm supposed to, or to irrational people in situations like these. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Coahw, episode 119. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do poke the like button. If you'd like to get the videos a little bit early, then think about supporting me on Patreon. You can find that linked in the description. You can do so for as little or as much as you like per month. And if that doesn't tickle your fancy, you can also treat yourself to some Hellfreezer merchandise. My Teespring store is linked in the description. You can also make donations during streams and videos like this one if you wish to do so. While this is not required, I do appreciate it and it helps out. Alrighty, let's see. I don't think we have any other business today, so let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is: name a film you've never seen but have always wanted to. You've just, for various reasons, never had or made the time to do so. Could be an older one, could be a more recent one, doesn't really matter. Just something you do want to see, but you haven't made the time for it. There's a literal list of ones I could tell you, but I'm just going to say off the top of my head the movie Logan with Hugh Jackman. Everything I've heard about it says it's a great movie. I like the cast of the movie. I have enjoyed previous ones in that franchise, although I'm not fully caught up with all of them, but I haven't made the time. I could watch it right now. I think it's up on Disney+. Although I'm working right now, so that would be weird if I just stopped working to go watch a movie. But I just haven't, and it's one of those things. I'll probably get round to it eventually. In fact, talking about it now might be enough motivation. So, let me know what you think. Let me know some of yours in a comment below. And with that, I'm gonna head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.